lovers, it is GSwiz here, and I'm here today to talk about the 24 books that I would like to read in 2024. So this right here is not necessarily a strict TBR. I don't have to follow it throughout the year. However, I do love to bring the books that I have currently on my TBR up that I would like to get to eventually and that I would like to prioritize this year. And there are a bunch of books on this list today that I would like to prioritize throughout the year. Some of them I've put on this list for various reasons, like they're the first book in a series, or maybe they might be a standalone. I don't know if I've got any standalones on here actually. I might. Or maybe they might be relevant to a specific reading month of the year, or I would just like to get to them purely because I see that they're hyped and I've totally missed out on the hype. Some of these books I really wanted to read back in 2023 and I did not have the chance to read them in 2023, so that's why I've put them on this 24 books I want to finally get to in 2024 video in the hopes that I might get to them. Once again, it's not a strict TBR like the 12 Friends Recommend Me 12 Books challenge or the Pop Sugar Reading Challenge, but curating this list gives me a sense of what my 2024 reading year will look like. Maybe. I can't predict the full year. I can probably predict the first few months based on this list. So I guess without further ado, let's get straight into the 23, not 23. So I guess without further ado, let's get straight into the 24 books I would like to read within 2024. The first out of the books that I would like to read within 2024 is Manifest by Brittany Cavallaro. This is the sequel and conclusion to the Muse duet, and I really enjoyed Muse a few years back, but it has been around 2 or 3 years, actually 3 years in 2024 since the first book came out. There was a 2-year gap between Muse and Manifest coming out, and I personally believe that the original fandom of the series got less interested after the 6-month to year mark of Muse being out. I don't know anyone in my personal life who has read Manifest. I don't know anyone in my personal life who actually loves the series, but I really enjoyed the first book and I want to revisit the first book this year in the hopes that I will finally get to Manifest. I personally did not buy Manifest as soon as it came out, and the reason why I did not buy it as soon as it came out was because it was a $40 hardback, and then when I saw on my Amazon wishlist that it got dramatically reduced to $19, I purchased it then, but that was 6 months after release. But now I have it on my shelves. I'm really happy I do. I just need to read it though. I really enjoyed the first book and I can't wait to read the sequel, but I would like to reread the first book in the lead up to the sequel because it has been around 3 years since I've read Muse. It doesn't feel like 3 years ago. I feel like I read Muse around 2 years ago, but it's been that long. So I need to reread, I need to recap, and I hope I love the sequel just as much as I loved the first book. And the next book I would like to get to in 2024 is Two Wrongs Make a Right by Chloe Leese. This is the first book in a new companion series by Chloe Leese that I believe also follows a family. So if you don't happen to know, the Bergman Brothers series is definitely one of my favorite contemporary romance series ever, and this series right here follows a bunch of sisters. They're called the Wilmot sisters. I don't know if the series is going to go beyond 2 books, but the second book only recently came out. I also picked the second book up. I would like to read this series this year, and I'm also planning to put the series on my romance companion series TBR for the year. Yes, I am planning to make one of those videos, so stay tuned for that. I plan to make that video for February/Valentine's period, and I'm not only interested in this book because Chloe Leese wrote it and it's the first in a new series. I find that the title is very funny. I'm very curious about this book, and I also very much appreciate her tattoos. I want to know what their deal is. I really do. I reckon it's going to be fun, it's going to be quirky in Chloe Leese fashion, and I'm just hoping that I love this one just as much as I love majority of the Bergman Brothers books. And the next book I would like to read within 2024 is a book that I've actually started. I actually started Consider Me back in 2023. I read the first few chapters and I really enjoyed the first few chapters. I just did not continue on because I was intimidated by the size of this thing and by the size of the rest of the books and how many books I had to get through within the month that I started reading Consider Me. I actually started reading Consider Me before it got picked up by a publisher and before it had this rebrand. I saw the first audiobook on sale, so I decided to listen to the first few chapters and I was immediately hooked, but I definitely do need to continue on with the series. So I know the premise of the this first book, and I've tried the first few chapters out. I'm really digging it. I just need to push myself to continue on with this first book. And you know what? I know I can do it based on the fact that I've conquered the Twisted series by Anna Huang and the length of those books, so I can definitely get through, consider me. This book is like 500 pages. Yeah, this book is over 500 pages. We're looking at around 535. I can't wait to get to this one. I am intimidated by the length of this book, but I'm excited for this book in particular because I've read the first few chapters and I really enjoy the first few chapters. And the next book I'd like to finally get to within 2024 is the 7-Year Slip by Ashley Poston. I read The Dead Romantics in 2023 and absolutely adored it, and I have been hearing absolutely great things about the 7-Year Slip. I've heard from a few of my friends in my personal life that the 7-Year Slip is definitely better than The Dead Romantics. I'm seeing reviewers say that this is one of the best romance novels they've ever read, so I am definitely very curious. I can't wait to get to this one. I also have this beautiful Fairy Loot special edition that's just absolutely marvelous. It's adorable. So yeah, if I went out of the way to purchase this Fairy Loot special edition, I think it's worth trying out, you know? I've been hearing absolutely marvelous things about this book and I have really high expectations for it, so I really hope that this book meets my expectations. And the next book I would like to read in 2024 is A Broken Blade by Melissa Blair. This is the first book in a series by Melissa Blair that I believe concludes within 2024. I have been waiting for the third and final book to come out. I don't know if actually it's going to be a 3-book series, but what I do know based on everyone's talk at the moment as I'm filming this video, it is a 3-book series, so I am just fully expecting that this is going to be a trilogy. I have been holding off reading this first book for a while. That's because I've been waiting for the next books to come out and I've been waiting to hear people's opinions on this book series. And I've been hearing good things about this first book, but I'm not gonna lie, I don't know anything about this book series. And you know what? At the point that I'm filming this video, I even purchased the sequel for this book in the Bookish Box exclusive edition. I know, it's kind of ridiculous because I should be reading these books before I buy the sequels. I know, but I could not help because this cover is absolutely stunning and I wanted a matching edition in the sequel. So there's that. I've heard good things about the series, but I've also heard mixed reviews. I don't know how to feel about that, but I just have to bite the bullet and do it. I have this book on my shelf, I have the sequel on the way, and I'm most likely going to buy the third book. And if I don't like this trilogy altogether, then I will just sell the trilogy. Simple. I think out of all the books on this list, this might just be the one I know the least about. That's a little alarming. I do like a good surprising read, so I'm hoping that this trilogy will surprise me this year. Hello, it's me from the future. So, literally 10 minutes into recording, roadworks started happening all day the day I was filming. So I'm filming this on a different day. Let's get into the other 19. The next book I'd like to read in 2024 is Her Radiant Curse by Elizabeth Lim. This is the first book in a new series, but I believe it's a spin-off to Six Crimson Cranes, and I personally want to read this book as we get closer to the sequel and finale. I mean, I actually don't know whether or not this is a duet, but I think it's most likely a duet because literally almost every Elizabeth Lim series within this world/universe is a duet, so I would not be surprised. I'm often finding that the first books are absolutely incredible and amazing, and the second book is often a letdown. And I would personally prefer to not read this book far out from the sequel because I want to manage my expectations. Like, what if for 6 months I'm super hyped up for this series because I love the first book and the second book just so happens to not be that great when I finally get to it? That's what I'm worried about. So I'm planning to read Her Radiant Curse closer to the release of the sequel. And the next book I would like to read in 2024 is Throne of the Fallen by Carrie Maniscalco. I need to read this book because I've collected 3 editions of it. I also very much enjoyed the Kingdom of the Wicked series. As I'm filming this video right now, I actually did not check. Is Throne of the Fallen a standalone? I think it might be a standalone. If it's not, then that is okay because I initially said in my previous videos when I was talking about Kingdom of the Wicked that I want more books set within this world that Carrie Maniscalco built within the underworld. I want to follow these characters more. I believe in this book we follow Envy, and I'm really hoping that I love the story. I have purposefully stayed away from reviews because I don't want anyone swaying my opinion on Throne of the Fallen. So even though maybe some of you guys have opinions, I will try to just not read them. I just want to go into this book with managed expectations, but also I want to be surprised, you know? I currently have the Waterstones exclusive edition. I'm holding the Barnes & Noble exclusive edition. As I'm filming this video, I've not yet received my Fairy Loot exclusive edition. I clearly have a problem, but also also, this cover is stunning, which is a first for the books within this universe because I did not like the Kingdom of the Wicked covers. So having 3 copies of this book absolutely blows my mind. And the next book I would like to read within 2024 is Powerless by Lauren Roberts. I have heard buzz about this book for a while. I really wanted to read it back in 2023 when it first got published, or when it first actually just got picked up by a publisher. I think it was initially self-published. I could be wrong. And then it got picked up by a publisher and everyone is screaming about this book. It is pretty much The Hunger Games meets Red Queen, I believe, but it's very accurate to those comps. I believe that Powerless follows a competition where everyone needs to battle to the death. So that is where I'm getting Hunger Games from, and I believe there are superpowered individuals in this book as well. Usually comps like that make me roll my eyes because I think to myself, really, you're just like gonna choose 2 really popular series and make them the comp just so that more people will read. However, as I read the synopsis for the first time, I realized, oh, yeah, no, that's way too accurate. I'm very much looking forward to getting to Powerless, and I want to read this in the lead up to Reckless, which is the sequel that will be coming out in 2024. I believe this is a trilogy. I usually like to binge series, but I kind of want to jump on the hype train with this one because I felt the FOMO in late 2023. And the next book I'd like to read in 2024 is Grave Mistakes by Ivy Asher and Raven Kennedy. This is the first book in the Hell's Gate Guardian series. If you guys don't know, Ivy Asher and Raven Kennedy just so happen to be 2 writer best friends. This is the first book in a quartet. I actually have all the books in the series on my shelf, and I also have these books signed by Ivy. I can't wait to meet Raven so she can also sign these eventually. And yeah, honestly, I do want to read more by Raven Kennedy. And as I'm filming this video, I don't think I've read anything by Ivy Asher. Such a shame because I really did want to read Order of Scorpions back in 2023, and I did not end up reading that one before Rare and before meeting Ivy, so I just really need to read something by Ivy in 2024. I'm hoping that the Hell's Gate Guardian series is going to be that series. I'm thinking of reading this series at the beginning of the year because I noticed in January of 2023 I read 2 paranormal romance series and they absolutely rocked my world. Like, they were the best kind of series to read during the summer period, the Australian summer period. Both of them were 5-book series. That was the Unearthly series and the Covenant Saga. I really enjoyed my experience doing so, and I need more paranormal romance series to binge. And I'm thinking maybe, just maybe, that time this year, I might just read the Hell's Gate Guardian series. And the next book I would like to read within 2024 is Immortal Longings by Chloe Gong. If you guys don't know, I'm actually pretty sure you know because Chloe Gong seems to be a worldwide sensation at the moment. But if you don't know, Chloe Gong is the author of These Violent Delights. I did not love These Violent Delights, unfortunately. I love the cover for These Violent Delights, but unfortunately I did not like the book itself that much, and I think I did not like it as much because I did not like the way that it was told narratively. However, for some reason I'm really hyped up for Immortal Longings. I don't know, it's not just the cover that I'm really excited about, it's just the fact that Chloe is doing something new, and I do want to get into Chloe Gong's writing, but I'm finding it really difficult to read the series that she started off with or any of the spin-offs. Therefore, I would like to try something new out, and I've decided that Immortal Longings is the way to go. I believe this is the first book in a duet. I'm not too sure if it's a duet or if it's going to be a trilogy or longer, but I'm just really excited to check this one out. And also, beautiful cover, beautiful edition. I don't think this beautiful Fairy Loot edition gets enough praise. Personally, it's gorgeous. I'm seeing people sell this special edition for like the price that they bought it at, and I mean, you know what, you do you. But it's just very interesting to see that a lot of resellers will mark other books up by like hundreds of dollars, and this book does not even come close to that. I'm just hoping it's a really good book though. Like, I just want a good read out of this book. Really appreciate this Fairy Loot edition. I'm happy to have it. I can't wait to read it. And the next book I would like to read in 2024 is A King Socalled by Ella Fields. This is a series by Ella Fields I have not yet started. I have started the Faded Fae series, and I did read Kingdom of Villains, and additionally I also can't wait to read Nectar of the Wicked, but I do want to get to one of her backlist series, and I purchased this series at Rare 2023, and I also have this edition signed by her. I really love love this cover. I mean, I don't love the second cover as much because it's just a shirtless dude hanging onto glass, but this dress is just so pretty. I'm curious about this book. I literally just purchased it because I wanted to read more by Ella Fields, and I don't know anything else about this book series. So I'm really hoping I enjoy this duet, and I will let you guys know how I go with it once I do get to it. But yes, duets are just very easy to fly through. I'm just really hoping I'm invested in this one. And the next book I would like to read in 2024 is The Atlas Paradox by Olivia Blake. This is the second book in the Atlas 6 series, or the Atlas series actually, and this is the first book in the series I have not yet read, as I'm currently filming this video. I've read the Atlas 6, I enjoyed the Atlas 6, I can't wait to reread the Atlas 6 in 2024, and I can't wait to read the Atlas Complex as well, but I need to get to the Atlas Paradox, obviously, before I get to the Atlas Complex. I hope I love this one just as much as I loved the Atlas 6. I'm not necessarily hearing that it's better than the Atlas 6, but I'm hoping I still enjoy it just as much as I enjoyed the Atlas 6, or at least the experience that I had when I first read it. I really hope I love this trilogy overall. I mean, I have beautiful special editions of this trilogy on my shelf. They were irresistible. I loved the first book. I'm just really hoping that the first book was not where the series peaked. But then again, I need to have a little bit more faith in one of my favorite authors. I've read 3 of Olivia Blake's backlist books, and oh my goodness, I am in love with them. So I'm just hoping that I will fall in love with the entirety of the Atlas series. I'm really hoping that 2024 is the year that the Atlas series captures my heart. I mean, the Atlas 6 did, but I want the Atlas series to do so. And the next book I would like to read in 2024 is Sicko by Amo Jones. So Amo Jones is an author I don't think I've ever talked about on my channel before, apart from the fact that I have hauled this book previously. This, I believe, is a dark romance book. This is actually the Mystic exclusive edition of Sicko that was exclusively sold at Babe 2023. This was actually a mystery special edition. I had no idea what the mystery special edition was. A lot of the attendees had no idea, unless of course they got leaks. And then when we rocked up to the event, we found out it was Sicko. I'm curious about this one. I don't have much dark romance on my shelves. I do have some dark romance on my shelves, like, let me tell you. I still have A.K. Rose to read. I still have some H.G. Carlton to read as well, but I have this one right here, Sicko. I know nothing about it, but I've heard good things from dark romance readers about this book and about Amo Jones's works in general. So I'm hoping that I will enjoy this one. Maybe, just maybe, it will make Amo Jones an author to look out for. I did get Amo to sign my edition, but I don't think I got her to personalize it. I was a little bit scared, not gonna lie. Like, I struggle to get authors to sign my books if I've never read from them. That's how I felt. I had no idea what to say to her. I was just like, hey, this is a beautiful edition. Yep, there we go. Sign my book. I was so scared. But I'm really hoping that maybe, just maybe, this book will actually make her a favorite author of mine. And then when she comes to Babe or Rare in the future, I can actually go up to her with confidence and say, hey, look, I loved your book and I want you to sign all of them, please. We'll see how we go with Sicko. I know nothing about this, but I'm willing to be shocked and surprised because that is kind of why I try dark romance out. I literally just read dark romance every once in a while for an adrenaline-inducing time. And speaking of Babe 2023, a book I want to read in 2024 is Stilling Embers by Julie Hall. I collected this beautiful special edition at Babe 2023, and when I say it's special, I mean this is how it is special. It is gorgeous. Let me show you the full spread. I am in love with these beautiful illustrated editions, and I think there are illustrations throughout the book as well. Yeah, oh, okay. I mean, hello, hottie. Look at that. I'm gonna see if I can find another one to show you. These are exclusive editions sold by the author, and they are really hard to track down in Australia. So I'm just really happy I have this beautiful special edition. But I need to read it. I've read a series by Julie Hall before, and that was the Life After series. It was a good series, and I think she has a very engaging writing style. But this series right here, the Fallen Legacy series, just so happens to be her most popular series at the moment. So I would like to try it. I'd like to see what the hype's about, and I'm really hoping I love this book just as much as the rest of the fandom. I personally don't doubt Julie Hall's ability to write an entertaining story based on the fact that I have read the Life After series, so I'm gonna see how she goes with this one, and considering that the reviews for this series are even more positive, it just makes me even more excited to check more books out by her. Speaking of new favorites of mine, I've got Foxglove right here. This is the sequel to Belladonna. This is a book I have held myself back from. I desperately wanted to read Foxglove immediately after reading Belladonna, but I had a very personal experience reading Belladonna. I just so happened to read Belladonna not too long after a friend of mine passed away, and the book just so happens to be about death and grief. And so I decided that I was just gonna leave the processing at Belladonna and to eventually continue on with the series as the final book comes out. I mean, also, I'm a series binger, so it makes sense, but I also wanted to pay the appropriate attention to it. I mean, I'm not saying that my experience with Belladonna was not appropriate, but I read Belladonna more for how it made me feel emotionally rather than reading it for the actual story and the plot. And so I'm hoping for my second read of Belladonna that I will be able to immerse myself in the plot and the story and connect to the characters even more. And I'm hoping in the process I will be able to do the same with Foxglove in the lead up to Wisteria, which is coming out later this year. I believe this is going to be a trilogy. I have not heard otherwise yet. And if I finish Wisteria and find out that that's not the finale, I will laugh so hard. I'm very much looking forward to my read of Foxglove. I have been waiting for this moment for a while. If it's not as good as the first book, then I'm kind of happy that I pushed it out because I will be reading it closer to the finale. And the next book I would like to read in 2024 is Nightshade by Carrie Lake. This is another paranormal romance series that I want to try out, and I have the Fabled exclusive edition here. It's very pretty. Let me show you the end page art. I love this end page art so much because I love the stained glass aesthetic. I have this beautiful special edition. I also like the fact that right here we've got black pages. I had seen Nightshade every once in a while when I was browsing different bookish Facebook groups, but when I saw that Fabled were doing special editions of the set, I decided to purchase it, and now the set is on my TBR. I at least want to get to the first book this year. This series is really chunky. I think overall this series has a page count of like 1,200 pages, and it's a duet. Even though duets may be easy to get through, this duet right here is a pretty dense one. So I'm hoping to get to this one. I hope I love it just as much as I love some other really dense but great series. Trust me, there are a few duets out there that are like very well fleshed out, but only a few, only a few. I'm hoping that this joins that list. And the next book I would like to read in 2024 is Girl, Goddess, Queen by Bea Fitzgerald. This is a standalone. I actually thought it was the first book in a series because it just looks like it's gonna be a first book in a series. I don't know why. Sometimes I look at books and I'm like, yeah, you're a first book in a series and you're a standalone. But I literally judge the book by its cover. Girl, Goddess, Queen is a Hades and Persephone reimagining. I know nothing else about it. Honestly, I literally purchased it because the protagonist's name was Persephone and I just want to read more books about Persephone personally. And also I saw that this beautiful hardback just had a very pretty design that I wanted to add to my shelves, and I saw that Illumicrate and Fairy Loot were not doing this as a special edition, so I decided to purchase the standard UK edition. So I'm hoping to read Girl, Goddess, Queen if I just so happen to go through a really bad Lore Olympus hangover or Touch of Darkness hangover, just a really bad hangover to do with mythology, or if I just want to read a Greek mythology story that just so happens to follow Hades and Persephone. I will do it. I will read Girl, Goddess, Queen. And the next book I want to read in 2024, I purely want to read because I don't understand the hype for it. I don't understand why everyone loves this book so much. I literally lost One Dark Window in my shelves for the longest time. I forgot this book even existed for a while, and then all of a sudden I'm seeing everyone recommend this book and this series everywhere. I literally saw so many people get disappointed when they found out that Two Twisted Crowns got sold out within the first hour of the Fairy Loot sale. I remember jumping on to that Fairy Loot queue, and I was so surprised because I was on the website an hour beforehand. I stayed on the website for a while, and I still got put in the queue to wait 10 minutes for the sequel, when in usual circumstances with Fall of Ruin and Wrath and some other Jennifer L. Armentrout series and Fortuna Sworn and stuff, I've been able to access the Fairy Trove immediately. Even with Iron Flame, I was able to access the Fairy Trove immediately. But no, with Two Twisted Crowns, however, oh boy, no, that sale on Fairy Loot's website was really chaotic. I don't understand why everyone loves One Dark Window all of a sudden. Like, when I saw this book in our subscription box, I was like, okay, well, it just looks okay. I mean, it just looks like a standard book. No, this book is like a new phenomenon that I clearly know nothing about. So I'm really hoping to get to this one in 2024 because I truly just want to know why everyone is screaming about it all of a sudden. I have the Fairy Loot editions of this book series because they were like Fairy Loot exclusive hardbacks. That's cool. I really just need to read it now. Speaking of Fall of Ruin and Wrath, like I just mentioned Fall of Ruin and Wrath, yeah, I've also put it on this TBR right here. I have the Waterstones exclusive edition. I also have 3 editions of this book, funnily enough. 4! Oh my goodness, I have 4 editions of this book because I just remembered that Fall of Ruin and Wrath was also the monthly book pick for one of my bookish boxes. My goodness. So I have the bookish box special edition on the way. I have the Fairy Loot special edition on the way. I have the Barnes & Noble exclusive edition on my shelves, and I have the Waterstones exclusive edition. I just cannot help but collect these editions because all of them are pretty. I mean, the bookish box one's okay, but that one came with a subscription. But all the one-off special edition ones, I could not help myself with. Jennifer L. Armentrout is an author who I've read a lot of books from. They, I believe, at this point, as I'm filming this video, they are either my second most read author or my most read author. I could be wrong. I believe that Cassandra Clare takes the cake at the moment. I believe that Rick Riordan was either number 2 or number 3. But because I read more books by Jennifer this year, I think that Jennifer has either surpassed both of them or has surpassed Rick. But clearly, I've not yet read Fall of Ruin and Wrath yet. I almost did in 2023 and it just got away. I'm just hoping that it won't get away in 2024, but I can't guarantee that it won't because, once again, I'm a series binger and I have a feeling that this is going to be a trilogy or more. The next 2 books I would like to read in 2024 just so happen to be by Tiffany Roberts. I have Treasure of the Abyss, which is the first book in the Kraken series, and I have Ensnared, which is the first book in the Spider's Mate series. Yeah, I want to read more monster romance. What of it? I personally love Tiffany Roberts' books, and the reason why I do is because every single time I read one, I feel really good. I feel empowered. Because the protagonist, at the end of the day, at the end of the novel, they feel loved. Out of the 2, the Kraken series is the longest series. It's actually a 7-book companion series that follows like different romances. But then the Spider's Mate trilogy just so happens to be like a full trilogy. These aren't companion novels. They follow the same 2 characters throughout the 3 books. I'm just excited to read both of these. I don't really have much more to say. Tiffany Roberts just so happened to be one of my favorite author duos ever, and I will continuously read their books. And speaking of monster romance, I've also featured Opal Rain here. I would like to continue on with the Dusk Walker Bride series by reading the 2nd book, A Soul to Heal. I kind of have really high expectations for this book. I'm not gonna lie. I loved the first book in the series so much, A Soul to Keep. It was definitely one of my favorite books of 2023. It honestly surprised me last minute. I am obsessed. I'm hoping that I can obsess over A Soul to Heal in the same way. If I don't, then okay. I'm just hoping that I will find another book in the series that I will obsess over in a similar way. I kind of like Opal Rain's books for the similar reason why I like Tiffany Roberts' books. Every single time I read one of these monster romance novels, I feel empowered and I feel loved. They just have that like very beautiful message in them. I don't know. Like, these books aren't even preachy. They just are wholesome. They are simply wholesome. And you know what? Sometimes that's what I want out of my stories. And I just so happen to get that out of monster romance every once in a while. I also very much appreciate the Beauty and the Beast like themes. And I felt as if I got those themes more out of A Soul to Keep than anything I've read from Tiffany Roberts so far. But who knows? Maybe I might change my mind. Maybe there are some Tiffany Roberts books out there that feel more like Beauty and the Beast. But I can kind of expect those vibes from the rest of the series. I've actually talked to Opal when I met her. I actually talked to her about how much I love Beauty and the Beast and how much I wanted to get into monster romance. And she also mentioned that she loves Beauty and the Beast as well. And it was kind of validating to see that she also incorporated Beauty and the Beast in the first book in the series as well. So it was just really funny to know that I've talked to Opal personally about how much I loved Beauty and the Beast and how much she loves Beauty and the Beast, and the fact that it was referenced in the first book. I definitely think that she's gonna handle all these characters with care. The second last book I would like to read in 2024, or at least I want to mention on this 24 books to read in 2024 list, is House of Beating Wings by Olivia Wildenstein. This is the first book in the Kingdom of Crows series, and I want to read the Kingdom of Crows series this year. I have these beautiful editions. I was just about to say special editions, but you know what? This is the standard edition I have in my hand. I mean, look at that. That's still like special, right? That looks exclusive, that looks special, but no, this is like the actual standard edition hardback, and I am in love with it. I've heard great things about the series. I'm not gonna lie though, I have heard that it might potentially have a love triangle, so I'm a little bit skeptical. But I'm hoping that I can get past that, I can get through that, and I will be able to discern who is endgame and who's not, and that I will enjoy the overall plot and story regardless of the fact that there is a love triangle. And also fate. Like, I believe this book series contains fae. I like myself a good fae romantasy, so I'm hoping that this one is just as good as some of the other fae romantasies that I've seen out in the market at the moment. I've seen a lot of good reviews for this book in particular, and I'm seeing a lot of collectors try to chase down the first Bookish Box special edition in the series. I have the Bookish Box special edition of this first book, but I also got the standard edition as well because I love both of them. We'll see how I go with this. I mean, I need to justify the fact that I have 2 sets of this book series, and I just realized that the next book series I'm gonna talk about, I have 3 sets of. Oh dear. I just love pretty books. And I love pretty romantasy books, and I clearly prioritize them with my money. Last but certainly not least, the final book that I've decided to put on my 24 books I would like to read within 2024 is The Serpent and the Wings of Night by Carissa Broadbent. If you guys don't know, Carissa Broadbent's War of Lost Hearts series made my favorite book series of 2023. I deliberately decided to not read Serpent and the Wings of Night in 2023 because I wanted the War of Lost Hearts to have its time to shine. I did not want the War of Lost Hearts to be overshadowed by The Serpent and the Wings of Night. I have heard great things about this book. I literally have a work colleague, I have a few work colleagues who are obsessed with this book, and they are harassing me every week to read it. They're like, Grace, you haven't read The Serpent and the Wings of Night yet. What is wrong with you? You have 3 editions of this book. I'm like, yes, I know. I'm very aware. However, I decided that I was going to hold off until 2024 because I want to be able to give the War of Lost Hearts the time I needed to give it to process it and to truly appreciate it. The War of Lost Hearts is a work of art. It's tragic, it's beautiful, it's heartwarming, it's heartbreaking. There are so many words I could use to describe the War of Lost Hearts series. And I know that I could potentially feel the same way about The Serpent and the Wings of Night, and I understand that this series has a lot more hype than the War of Lost Hearts. But I decided I wanted to take the time to process everything that I read in the War of Lost Hearts, and then to come to this series knowing that I'm ready for it. Knowing that I'm ready to potentially read a new favorite book series by a favorite author of mine. I just realized I don't just have 3 copies of The Serpent and the Wings of Night. I just remembered that the Bookish Books are also doing this as a monthly book pick. It is that hyped. Everyone is screaming about this book series, and I understand because the War of Lost Hearts was incredible. I do not underestimate Carissa Broadbent. I think that she is an excellent writer, that she is a massive talent. I truly believe in her ability to write. Oh my goodness, can she write? I am trying to go into this book with managed expectations. I'm really hoping I love the series. I have 5-star predictions for this first book. We'll see how I go though. No pressure. I'm trying not to pressure myself. Maybe the second book I will have 5-star predictions for. That's why I put it off until 2024, and 2024 is going to be the year that I read it. Like, I'm certain. Unless something terrible happens to me, 2024 is the year I will read The Serpent and the Wings of Night. Okay? It's on the record now. I can't take that back. So I guess that's gonna be it for this video today, book lovers. If you happen to stay to the end of the video, leave me the book stack emoji because 24 books, that's a massive stack. And if you happen to enjoy this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you haven't yet already. Join the amazing community of book lovers. And also, I have social medias. I'm at gswizzelbooks on Twitter and Instagram, and I'm also Goodreads. That's www.goodreads.com/gswizzle. And finally, I'm at TikTok. I'm at gswizzle on TikTok if you want to follow me there for some bookish content. I love you, book lovers, and I will see you later. Peace.
Started out with half and I flipped it in a double. Started out with half and I flipped it in a double.